Alright, so welcome back. After a really weird session playing some Conquer's Hyrule Tale, just had to stop playing that game. Like, it had some really bizarre, uncomfortable, weird, like, racism references. I think it's time to, like, cleanse our palate and go try something different. So, yeah, we're gonna be reading some of the SCP Wiki. I think it's gonna be hilariously funny, bad, and good all at the same time. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I've been thinking about doing this at some point, and I think this is just like the perfect, starting point to just, check out something different. So, I love the SCP Wiki. It's always full of cool ass shit. I don't know if this is a real one, but if we find this, that would be hilarious. Uh, yeah, I just think it'd be a fun time to read along. I've started the whole like beginning of the wiki and read forward sort of thing. So I think that's how we're gonna do it, and also like just throw in some random ones here and there. Um, yeah, I think it's best to start from the beginning. Just that's not how I started. I started randomizing, so we're gonna randomize first, and then we're gonna do it sequentially. And I don't know. I'll probably come back to this in the future, so I think it'll be fun. I'm gonna play just random music in the background because I think it fits. But sometimes we're gonna have like sparkly tunes, and it's totally gonna be not fitting. I think it's gonna make it funnier though. So this is my personally curated playlist of music, and yeah, let's do this. Let's check out some SCP Wiki. Wow, why are we starting with a Zelda song of all things? We could start with something like a little darker, I guess, but let's see. Yeah, Fantasy Star. Okay, we're at the front page of the wiki. Welcome, the SCP Foundation Wiki. Oh, that's right, I forgot something. Hold on one second. I'm sure there's a button for it on the front page, actually. Yeah, there it is. Never mind. Thought I was going to have to open a brand new tab for it. So yeah, let's start with random. I think we'll just do one for now, and then maybe like at the end of this, or after we come back to it, we'll just do a few random ones to start it off, and just do like a pattern of that. Oh wait, 9. This is pretty close to, the starting point anyway, so hey, nice. I'm not sure if I want to do this two ways or not, but I think... Let me just, like, duplicate the source of this really quick before we start reading it. What, really? There's, like, no duplicate option. It's so weird. Okay. Let me just crop this a little bit so we can see it a little better. So like, I don't know, 200 crop? 300, something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Just crop the top a little bit too. Alright, so now we'll have like a zoom in page for us to like read it a little better, I guess. And that was like a duplicate of my original capture, so you know what, I should just make a new one. I'm still pretty advanced with OBS, but I'm always learning shit, so just give me another second. The suspense, it's building. I mean, I guess you can read this as I'm sitting here, but yeah, just give me a second. I think it was just that, right? How does this look? Yeah, that's fine, I guess. I'll fiddle with it later. Alright, so SCP-089. Object Class Euclid, see below. Special Containment Procedure. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-089 is stored in a special shipping container at Site-36 and monitored for locution events. Mobile Task Force MU-89. consisting of personnel with advanced training in linguistics, psychology, and tactical diplomacy, has been established in order to respond to such locution events. Upon the occurrence of a locution event, Mobile Task Force MU-89 is to translate and interpret the location so as to hereby identify the primary subjects of that triggering, herein designated as SCP-089-A and 089-B. Then execute Protocol M8, which consists of the following steps. Transport SCP-089 to 089-A's location and explain Protocol M8 to 089-B. Okay. And 2. At any such time as SCP-089-B is prepared to voluntarily execute M8, render to SCP-089-B any assistance as 089-B may request in connection to 089-B performing the following actions: inserting 089-A into the cavity together with inflammable materials such as oiled wood or charcoal, then igniting them. We have to immolate them at the pyre. 089 after transportation to 089-B's location in order to perform Protocol M8. So this is basically like a replicating figure, and if it generates an A figure, I guess a B figure is supposed to already be there. Interesting. Then they just like immolate at the pyre. Initial? I guess. Okay, it replicates, and 089 is either the original or B is the original. A or B are the original, whatever, and then one of them immolates the other at the pyre. So I guess B would be extant because they're rendered the protocols. So what? So does he immediately produce spawn and then burn it? Or is the spawn burning the creator? Successful execution of Protocol M8 requires the voluntary compliance of 089-B in a sober and uncoerced state. Likewise, 089-A must be conscious and alert during the execution of the protocol. It is recommended that 089-B be restrained, although not sedated, following ignition so as to avoid interference with the completion of the protocol, as the process is extremely painful and fatal to 089-A. If 089-B refuses to voluntarily execute Protocol M8 in accordance with the aforementioned specifications, MTF MU-89 is to explain the prospective consequences of failing to successfully complete the protocol and make every effort to persuade 089-B to cooperate. If MTF MU-89's best efforts to so persuade 089-B are unsuccessful, 089 is to be redesignated as Keter class, or Kather, I don't know how it's pronounced, and Protocol M9 is to be executed. Reference document 089M9. The use of intimidation, threats, or mind-altering drugs or intoxicants in an effort to affect 089-B's free will, and any attempt to complete Protocol M8 without 089-B's participation or voluntary cooperation, or otherwise other than as described, are strictly prohibited, since these measures invalidate the attempted completion of the protocol, and are known to intensify the severity of the attendant Type S event. Okay. Just give me a second, I need to open a tab. I want to delete that previous stream because it sucked ass. Description: SCP-089 is a glazed earthenware statue approximately 3 meters in height, depicting a winged, bull-headed humanoid with an open mouth. The front of the statue's torso is hinged and can be opened from the top to reveal a cavity approximately 0.06 cubic meters in volume and can be locked from the outside. The rear of the statue bears an inscription in a Canaanite language, possibly Punic. Reference 1. The statue dates from approximately the 2nd century BCE. On infrequent occasions, sometimes separated by periods in excess of a century, the statue speaks. The mechanism by which these sounds are made is not understood, and the mouth of the statue does not move. The statue's locutions are in a Canaanite language, probably the same language as the inscription, and consist of... just a second here. The name or a description of SCP-089A. A demand for Protocol M8 to be accomplished, together with instructions for doing so. And a description of the attendant Type S event in figurative language. Name, description of 089A, demand for Protocol M8 to be accomplished, and a description of the attendant Type S event. So it sounds like a miniature deity, like reproducing so that it can further evolve or something. And the M8 event is to teach the deity to immolate either previous self or current self, whatever, but keep one extant. To prevent like a deity overwhelming event or whatever, you know, something where it ascends too fast and the Foundation can't really control it. Okay, just deleting my previous VOD real quick. I don't know, just that weird racism shit was not accessible, I almost said. Is that even a word? More Zelda music. Now it's kind of funny. But like starting the stream with it just felt so off. It's too jolly. Okay. Each locution event is followed within a period of 3 to 11 days by the commencement of a Type S event meeting, the description given in the locution event, unless Protocol M8 has already been completed. Type S event is an epidemic, natural disaster, mass hysteria involving genocide or other massacres, or other event involving extensive damage to property, and loss of human lives over a period of time that continues until Protocol M8 is successfully completed. In the case of each documented locution event, the attendant Type S event, while significant, is limited to a geographic area that does not directly affect SCP-089-B. This has, in some documented cases, resulted in the pendency of a Type S event for an extended duration of time due to SCP-089-B's unawareness of SCP-089 or of Protocol M8, or to SCP-089-B's unwillingness to undertake Protocol M8 in order to arrest the Type S event. Yeah, basically what I described, but just in more words. For each locution event, SCP-089-A is a healthy, unblemished human infant or child between 8 months and 6 years of age, and SCP-089-B is that child's natural mother. Okay. In all documented cases at the time of locution event of 089A and B are each alive and healthy and experience a strong bond of trust and affection with each other. Following 089B's placement of 089A in the cavity and the ignition of the inflammable materials, SCP-089A will burn and be destroyed over a period of 2 to 5 hours. This is fucking weird, but okay. Addendum number 1. Memo to file from Dr. Garcia. While the role of SCP-089 in actually causing Type S events is unclear, experience has demonstrated that the prompt and precise application of Protocol M8 is effective in limiting the damage that they do. Dr. Patel has speculated that 089 does not cause Type S events, but merely anticipates them and provides a means to mitigate their effects. So it's like a mom and a child continuously reproducing a child and then burning it? Why? Because it's gonna become a god? Addendum number 2, a partial list of documented Type S events that were terminated by means of Protocol M8, inclusive of documented completions of Protocol M8 that predate the Foundation's acquisition of custody of 089 follows. Date of locution, March 21st, 1788. Description of Type S event and locution event. The flame shall consume their houses, yea, and their markets and their temples, and all their dwelling places they shall be destroyed. So it's like a prophetic child that causes Type S events. Fire in the city of redacted. Did I say Type S event? Type S event, fire in the city of redacted. Blank black, longer blank black. Outcome. Protocol M8 completed on day 29 after locution event. 66% of city's buildings destroyed. Fuck. Date of locution, December 2nd, 1850. Description of Type S event and locution event. The false prophet shall gather the multitude unto him, and cast them against the princes. They shall each of them be slain, and their fields made barren. Is this just Bible quotes? Okay. It sounds familiar. Type S event, large-scale messianic-based peasant uprising in blank. Yeah, sounds like Christian theology or something. Outcome, Protocol M8 completed on day 1363 after locution event. Massacres associated with uprising and its suppression and attendant agricultural collapse account for at least blank million casualties. So this is like a kind of like Dalai Lama sort of thing going on here. Date of locution, November 23rd, 1951. Description of the Type S event and locution event. The earth shall tremble and the sea shall rise and be cast against the earth. The mountain shall vomit fire and its voice shall be darkness and death. Type S event, earthquake and volcanic eruption and blank space blank. Outcome, Protocol M8 executed within 31 hours of locution event. No tsunami resulted, although geological models had anticipated that one would occur from a seismic event in that area. No fatalities. Date of locution, November 7th, 1970. Description of Type S event and locution event. The rain shall scour the earth, and sweep away man and his beasts and all his works. The deluge shall take them all. Type S event, cyclone and very long blank. Outcome, Protocol M8 executed on day 49 after locution event. Casualties from flooding, disease, and starvation estimated at blank thousand. Alright, the last one. Date of locution, April 4th, 20 blank blank. So the last 2 years of the 20 there are redacted. Description of Type S event and locution event. Data expunged. Type S event. Data expunged. Outcome, ongoing. Protocol M8 has not yet executed. Or Protocol M8 not yet executed. Okay, that's kind of a spooky ending. Footnotes, Dr. Blank translated an excerpt of the text as Nightmare of Moloch. Moloch the Loveless. Mental Moloch. Moloch the Heavy Judger of Men. Okay, so it's a big Moloch reference. Is that a motherfucking Moloch reference? That was kind of interesting. But yeah, we're gonna start at the Series 1 Tales. Let's do this. I'm enjoying this so far. The music's kind of not fitting. In some ways. Sometimes it is fitting, but right now it's okay. But yeah, this is good so far. I'm having fun reading along. And I hope you're enjoying it. Okay. I mean, if you want to see the full page, here it is. I'll just do a quick scroll. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, this is a... Wow, this is like the initial proposal. Why is my mouse hidden? That's weird. Huh, yeah. Well, if you want to start from the beginning, you have to kind of know a little bit about the lore so far. I don't really know that much, but basically the very first SCP, entry 000 or 001, I forget which one it is, actually happens a little later. It's like, I don't know, fucking 54 or like 83 or something. But they moved it to first because it's like a kind of reality generation story or something. So they just wanted it to like set up the universe, I guess, or something. But yeah, we're gonna start at 001. It's a fine place to start anyway. You're not really gonna miss anything by me going 001 to 100. So yeah, let's just start at 1. Or 0. I forget exactly how the wiki works. Okay, 001. Awaiting declassification blocked. I think this is actually like based on site cookies, so this is kind of funny. Let's do it. There's a lot of good ones early on too, so I really like this. SCP-001, the following files have been classified top secret by order of the administrator, General Notice 001 Alpha. In order to prevent knowledge of SCP-001 from being leaked, several /no false SCP-001 files have been created alongside the true file/files. All files concerning the nature of 001, including the decoy/decoys, are protected by a memetic kill agent designed to immediately cause cardiac arrest in any non-authorized personnel attempting to access the file. Alright guys, if you have sensitivity to heart attacks or are frequent to getting scared, you might want to skip this one. I don't think flashing lights warning, but some pages have some really weird shit. Like, some of them just have like a weird song playing in the background or something at low volume. Some of them have some fitting stuff though, like a lighthouse with waves playing in the background or something. But yeah. This is, of course, all fiction for intents and purposes, so no need to worry, but if you are easily scared, you might want to turn away from this stream or watch something else. Revealing the true nature/natures of SCP-001 to the general public is cause for execution except as required under blank dash blank dash blank. Warning. Any non-authorized personnel accessing this file will be immediately terminated through Berryman Langford memetic kill agent. Scrolling down without proper memetic inoculation will result in immediate cardiac arrest followed by death. You have been warned. This is supposed to be kind of like a 001 meme. Memetic kill agent activated. Continued life signs confirmed. Removing safety interlocks. Welcome authorized personnel. Please select your desired file. So I'm going to probably come back to these a little later, but these are some of the writers, I believe, and also like interlore kind of creators of the Foundation. That's kind of what I understand it to be, at least. That image up there, don't worry about it. It's just a like fractal picture. I believe they embedded it just to like make the page unique. I don't know, maybe it's 001 itself. There's also a reference for licensing and citations. And yeah, I mean, these are the authors basically. This is like a Ninja Gaiden or something, right? This is Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. I swear to God, dude, this soundtrack has so many unfitting things. It's just this. That's me paging through the entire song. Like, seeking through it. It's just, like, 3 sounds over and over again. I don't know why it's like that. Okay. So, Jonathan Ball, Dr. Gears, Dr. Clef, QNTM, Bright, Dr. Mann, Dr. Mackenzie, S. Andrew Swan, Scantron, Joric/D Maddox, DJ Cactus/Twisted Gears, Codename, I don't know why I started reading Codename, Kate McTirris, Kalinin, Wrong. Okay, that was weird. I thought the G had its own hyperlink there. SD Locke, Spike Brennan, WJS, Billith, Tanhoney, Lily, Tufto, Jim North, IH Pickman, The Great Hippo, featuring Pepper's Ghost, Weizong, Pipe, The Deadly Moose Pipe, Drew Bear Pipe, Dexanote, Captain Kirby, Pedantique, Not a Seagull, Meta Ike, Noir Box, Tanhoney 2. Codename is just blank, but it shows their title as Conspiracy, or The Conspiracy. Codename Arbalect, Mechadoctoric, Rounderhouse, Dr. Yates, I.H. Pickman, SD Lock. Okay, and it shows their jobs associated: Sheaf of Papers, the Prototype, the Gate Guardian, the Lock, the Factory, the Spiral Path, the Legacy, the Database, the Foundation, 36, Ouroboros, a Record, Past and Future, the Consensus, When Day Breaks, God's Blind Spot, Normalcy, the World at Large, Dead Men, The World's Gone Beautiful, The Scarlet King, A Simple Toy Maker, Story of Your Life, A Good Boy, Project Palisade, 05-13, Fishhook, The Sky Above the Port, The Solution, Tindalos Trinity, The Black Moon, The Conspiracy, You Are the Anomaly, Tumor of the Worlds, The Placeholder, Memento Mori, A Test of Character, and Keter Duty. If you want to look at this as basically like a whole book, this could be considered sort of almost like the chapter selection. This isn't the proper order, I don't think. Like, I think the Scarlet King is way earlier on. But yeah, basically the writers, and you can use this as sort of a guidepost to the greater foundation. So, I need to go to 002, please. Sometimes this website is hard to traverse a little bit. Alright, 002. Here's the whole page if you want to see it really quick, and then I'm just going to zoom in. What the fuck did I just do there with OBS? I dragged my sources page like halfway across the screen and it returned to its original position. That was spooky. Okay, SCP-002. Item number 002, object class Euclid. I don't quite remember the classification, how it works, but I think Euclid is kind of safe? I don't know. Special containment procedures. SCP-002 is to remain connected to a suitable power supply at all times. To keep it in what appears to be a recharging mode. In case of electrical outage, the emergency barrier between the object and the facility is to be closed and the immediate area evacuated. Facility. Once facility power is re-established, alternating bursts of X-ray and ultraviolet light must strobe the area until 002 is reaffixed to the power supply and returned to recharging mode. Containment area is to be kept at negative air pressure at all times. Teams including a minimum of two members are required within 20 meters of SCP-002 or its containment area. Personnel should maintain physical contact with one another at all times to confirm there is another person present, as perception may be dulled, skewed, or influenced by proximity to the object. Let's just take a look at this really quick. Oh. Is that the largest size it has? Okay, there we go. This is the SCP-002 object. Interesting. Here, let me do this. There you go. You can see some either figures or personnel in the background. It looks like there's a handcart ladder or something. It's a very large spherical object. It appears to be hovering in the air. At a distance, maybe, I'd say the camera, maybe like 5 feet away. 5 to 6 feet away, and the object, it looks like it's risen about 2 feet off the ground. There is a prominent shadow under it, but it doesn't really look like that, actually. It's more like maybe dust on the camera or something in the atmosphere around. There's something really far in the distance, looks like a corner of the facility, and we just have like a metal lined roof, typical of a garage or something. Outside it looks like we're at an airport, maybe? So yeah, maybe there's some metal barriers between open air, or this is just deeper into the facility. It's a large line throughout the distance, and a white, I guess, planed atmosphere to the floor. Just like a large ribbon-like stretch through the center. That's weird looking. The rest of it just sort of looks like piping or machinery going through the sides. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody without sight is watching, or maybe someone hard of hearing is watching, and I eventually add captions to this series, but I just wanted to like visually describe that because I think that'd be interesting. Okay. Let's see. No personnel below level 3 are permitted within 002. This requirement may be waived via written authorization from 2 off-site level 4 administrators. Command staff issued such a waiver must be escorted by at least 5 level 3 security personnel for the duration of their contact, must temporarily surrender their rank and security clearance. So, level 3 or higher personnel can go in here willingly, but if they ask for permission, they get babied. That's funny. Interesting. Yeah, it says the requirement may be waived by 2 level 4 administrators. So, really, if you're a level 5 personnel, or I guess if you're lower, I mean, yeah, that's like tourist mode. But if you're level 3 and you request this, holy shit. Yeah, I think that's a standard operating procedure right there. Because it admits the permission. That's weird. You have to give up security clearance. They're just gonna turn you into D-class if you fuck up. Following contact, command staff will be escorted at least 5 kilometers from SCP-002 to undergo a 72 hour quarantine and be 72-hour quarantine and psychological evaluation. If deemed fit for return to duty by psych staff, rank and security clearance may be restored when quarantine expires. Description: SCP-002 resembles a tumorous fleshy growth. Is this literally the Legion boss track? It's called Chamber of Ruin. I'm thinking of Legion from this. Fleshy growth of volume. This is from Order of Ecclesia, so I doubt that this is the Legion track. Who knows? SCP-002 resembles a tumorous fleshy growth with a volume of roughly 60 meters cubed, or 2,000 feet cubed. An iron valve hatch on one side leads to its interior, which appears to be a standard low-rent apartment of modest size. TARDIS? One wall of the room possesses a single window, though no such opening is visible from the exterior. The room contains furniture which, upon close examination, appears to be sculpted bone, woven hair, and various other biological substances produced by the human body. All matter tested thus far show independent or fragmented DNA sequences for each object in the room. So it's a living structure that it has like TARDIS architecture a little bit. You go in and things are made of presumably living human materials, and they all have their own unique DNA structure. Refer to Mulhausen Report. Cross-reference document 00.023.603 for details related to the object's discovery. Reference to date, subject has been responsible for the disappearances of 7 personnel. It is also, in its time at the facility, further furnished itself with 2 lamps, a throw rug, a television, a radio, a beanbag chair, 3 books in an unknown language, 4 children's toys, and a small potted plant. So it like fucking eats people and converts them into furniture? And it has power? Tests with a variety of lab animals, including higher primates, have failed to provoke a response in SCP-002. Cadavers as well failed to produce any effect. Whatever process the subject uses to convert organic matter into furnishings is apparently only facilitated by the introduction of living humans. That's fucked up. So view Mulhausen Report Doc ID 00.023.603, Mulhausen Report 00.023.603. Following is a brief report detailing the discovery of SCP-002. Subject was discovered in a small crater in northern Portugal, where it struck the Earth from orbit. Encased in a shell of thick rock, the fleshy exterior of the object was exposed by the impact. Encased in a shell of thick rock. A native farmer happened upon the site and reported his findings to the village elder. Subject gained SCP attention when a Level 4 agent posted in the area detected a small radioactive anomaly generated by the object. A collection squad of SCP security personnel led by General Mulhausen was immediately dispatched to the area, where they quickly secured the subject in a small container and performed initial testing with subjects recruited from the nearby village. 3 men individually sent into the structure subsequently disappeared. Upon discovering this deadly property of the subject, General Mulhausen issued a Level 4A termination order of any witnesses, roughly 1/3 of the village, to ensure no outside knowledge of the object and initiated its transport to SCP Facility Data Expunge. Holy fuck, this Level 4A agent is a little too hardcore. General Mulhausen. Fuck. During preparation for transport, 4 SCP security personnel were inexplicably drawn inside the object, where they too immediately disappeared. Following inspection, it appeared as if the object had grown several new furnishings and was beginning to look like the interior of an apartment room. General Mulhausen immediately ordered the requisition of several Class 3 hazmat suits for the remaining security team members, who proceeded to lift the container onto a waiting freight ship for transport to the SCP containment facility. Did you really have to do a genocide just to hide the fact that it existed? Holy fuck. Sure, some MTF units could, just stay at facility and shoot anybody that showed up to site. Fuck off. I hate that they do this so often. Following the termination of General Mulhausen, see, fucking exactly. The guy in charge that made the order to hide the fucking object got killed too by the Foundation. Following the termination of General Mulhausen, SCP-002 was resecured by SCP staff and brought into special containment and classified, where it currently resides. Staff with clearance below Level 3 have been denied access to the SCP-002 container without prior approval of at least 2 Level 4 staff after the Mulhausen incident. So yeah, it's like a large object that grows and creates furniture in itself. I think it's just like a sentient carnivorous creature that devours inhabitants, and then it must feast off of mind energy or something. Or maybe it's also powered by, SCP Foundation or something. Maybe the lights in the room. And as it expands itself, it just creates furniture to draw further humans in. Maybe it feeds off of the potential of curiosity. I don't know, that's pretty spooky. I like it, but that's kind of weird, champ. Alright, let's go to 003. That one was interesting and kind of shorter. And it goes without saying, this was edited on April 1st. It goes without saying, a lot of the wiki entries are written by various people, so both the context and the type is going to change a lot, and I appreciate that. It throws a lot of variety in. So just going to scroll through the page really quick so you can see it, and let's zoom in. SCP-003. Item, SCP-003. Object Class Euclid. The image says a close-up of SCP-003's circuitry. This is a map of SCP-003 circuitry. I'm not very smart when it comes to this stuff, but it looks interesting. There's some very particularly arranged gold filament, it appears to be, on a green PCB, which I think that's just made out of carbon plastic or something. It appears there's at least 6 spots available, or maybe just threads for spacing the diagram of gold filament. But there's 6 open areas. Looks like you could fit a battery or a processor there or something. So 6 processor or battery spots, maybe add-on units, maybe areas just holding open space, I don't know. In the direct center, just about, is a very green object that's probably either relevant or just part of the PCB diagram, the plastic. 3 large connectors, it appears, between the 6 large space objects. There's a small sub-area off the corner of the bottom of those 3 middle objects. And then again, just the big golden filament. On the left-hand side underneath is a connector of that gold filament and just some weird holes planed into that filament. It appears to make teeth, kind of like a comb. And then it bridges into sort of pathways of gold filament. As we descend further down, it sort of branches in very odd pathways. On the right-hand side, below the 3 large things, also sort of the same as the left side, but a little longer. And then below that larger, longer thing, just more like toothpick, comb, gold filament. Right-hand side looks like, I don't know, like a connection point. It is just a pattern of pipes with a large green strip and then more of those gold filament connectors. Bunch of like bridges on the outer edges of the 6 large things. In between the 3 large units as well. Alright, let's get to this. SCP-003 Special Containment Procedures. 003 is to be maintained at constant temperature of no less than 35 degrees Celsius and ideally kept above 100 degrees Celsius. No living multicellular organisms of Category 4 or higher complexity may be allowed to come into contact with SCP-003. In event of total power failure, if SCP-003-1 begins to increase its mass, assigned personnel must engage in skin contact with 0031. Ideally, personnel may use their body heat to return 0031 to above the critical temperature. However, skin contact must be maintained even in the event of 003 reaching activation temperature, lasting at minimum until 0031 advances fully to its second growth stage. So it must be like a very complex computer that just depends on a certain heat level and potentially the touch of an organism. Personnel who enter 003's containment area must first be examined for body parasites of Category 4 or higher complexity, and sterilized if such organisms are present. I don't know what sterilized means in this context. All personnel who come in physical contact with 0031 are to immediately report for sterilization afterwards. 0031 must not be removed from 0032 except in case of emergency procedures detailed above. Any significant change in 0032's ruin activity, including pattern, frequency, or color, should be reported within 3 hours of occurrence. Cessation of rune activity must be reported immediately. SCP-003-2 must be supplied with power via the source designated Generator 39. That's 9 in Roman numerals, so 003-IX at all times. Description: SCP-003 consists of 2 related components of separate origin, referred to as 0031 and 0032. So it seems this processor has to be kept within a certain threshold, and it might even be, I don't know, like Nordic or something? Ruins. Like an ancient, I don't know, European computer? They got computers in Europe? Description: SCP-003 consists of 2 related components of separate origin, referred to as 0031 and 0032. 0031 appears to be composed of chitin hair and nails of unknown biology, arranged in a configuration to that of a computer motherboard. Okay, so like a human computer? Or like a living computer? Testing reveals 0031 to predate earliest known circuit boards by a factor of thousands of years. Okay. Caveman computer. Unga bunga. 0031 is considered sentient but not actively dangerous except under certain conditions. 0031 was found on a stone tablet, 0032, on which it currently resides. The runes on 0032 are not part of any known language and emit pale, flickering light patterns. So this is Breath of the Wild? This is the stone tablet we're given early on in the game? 0032 is controlled by a non-biological internal computer, the contents of which are mostly inaccessible without risk of damaging 003-2. 0032 is capable of controlled emissions of radiation, including heat, light, and anomalous radiation types. 0032 contains an internal power source of an anomalous nature, which appears to have been losing power since several centuries before discovery. Yeah, it's just an old-ass tablet computer. It is considered probable that 0032 was created for the purpose of containing 0031. Partially interpreted data recovered from 0032 may refer to a past and/or potential future LK-class restructuring event caused by 0031. So it's charging its battery or something? I don't know. 003 was located by remote viewing team SRV-04 Beta. Remote viewing team, huh? We got a bunch of meditators out there just looking for objects, huh? It appears possible that SRV-04 Beta was deliberately contacted by 0032. Okay, it reached full charge after thousands of years or something. Other organizations have also been alerta, to SCP-003's existence, possibly by similar means. Despite this activity, 0032 does not appear to be sentient based on its lack of reaction to MO3 Gloria analysis and procedures. MO3 Gloria probably being an operative who has like psychic abilities and like object cognition or whatever. When 003 drops below the temperature of 35 degrees Celsius, both components react. First, 0031 enters a growth stage categorized by an exponential increase in mass. This growth state consists of two stages. In both stages, 003-1 partially fuels its growth by converting matter around it and starting with any surrounding inorganic material, including atmospheric elements, then non-living organic material including cells of dead skin, hair, chitin, enamel, keratin, and other biological materials. So it starts eating the dust in the air for growth. The first stage is always the same. 0031 will first increase its mass, then take a form similar in shape to an ophiuroid brittle star, so a starfish kind of thing. Ophiuroid of 15 meters in diameter, including what appears to be a central processor of 3 meters in diameter. So it's like a starfish computer after it evolves a little bit. It will form sensory organs that appear to scan its surrounding environment and will partially convert the area around it to an unidentified anomalous substance. 0032 seems immune from conversion. The second stage describes a growth alteration which occurs when SCP-003 comes in contact with living organic material. 003 appears to template itself off of the organic material and will attempt communication with organisms that match its initial template or templates. So it contacts, assuming because it was able to contact a remote viewing team, it contacts anything that it eats. Interesting. It's a little bit more basic than I thought, but I guess, Is that predatory, or maybe it's trying to make friends, but also like eating its friends? In its second stage, 0031 may pause, slow, or change its growth. It will also convert inorganic and non-living organic elements into functionally similar structures, while anomalously altering their physical makeup. While growth is consistent in the first stage, in the second stage 0031's growth rate is diminished by 20 to 90% so long as 001 remains in contact with living organic material. The percentage is determined by the complexity of the organisms in contact with 0031. 0031 appears to devote a large amount of processing power to analysis of living organic material. Okay. So it likes rarity, and quantity is bad, probably. So it wants to eat an entire universe to really potentially grow. During each of 0031's growth stages, 0032 releases bursts of radiation that temporarily inhibit 0031's growth, or reverse this growth when the temperature of 0031 rises to above 100 degrees Celsius. Similar radiation emissions have been replicated or recorded via other anomalous means. 0031's biology has been subject of extensive study. Significant elements have been identified similar to SCP blank, SCP-1512, and SCP-2756. The latter of two, which have no further confirmed connection with 0031, and no known connection with each other, and none of which are fully understood. Technically, even less understood than 003, thanks to the extensive cross-disciplinary research on the 003 objects. Bro, let's go our Foundation homies. To date, no convincing analysis has been put forward which satisfactorily explains 0031's connection to these SCP objects or others, nor its connection to modern technology beyond appearance, and potential mimicry via unknown mechanism. It must have just randomly chosen, or maybe there is some significance to a starfish. This is a Vanishing by Michiru Yamane and Yasuhiro Ichihashi for the Order of Ecclesia soundtrack. I fucking love this song. Addendum 00301. Acting on information gathered from linguistic analysis of 0032's runes and comparative data analysis, research team MO3 Gloria has managed to establish a link between 003 and data expunged for analysis of functions. 0031 must now be considered sentient and is to be kept at a minimum of 1 kilometer from data expunged, and the resulting byproduct at all times. Addendum 00302. 00302's power loss has been exacerbated by the procedures performed by MO3 Gloria. On orders of 05-10, MO3 Gloria will continue procedures. I can only guess, but maybe Gloria has a psychic contact with the object, so she's able to maintain it? That would suck though. Addendum 00303. During MO3 Gloria's procedures, 0031 doubled its mass and began rapid structural growth. Well, yeah, she's a complex thing that it probably wants to eat. Well, Gloria, I don't know if it's a she, but whatever. Temperature was immediately returned to 100 degrees Celsius. Growth and mass increase of 0031 continued for 9 minutes and 6 seconds, at which time a sustained radiation spike was produced by 0032. In response, 0031 returned to its normal state in 3 minutes and 39 seconds. That math seems pretty neat. New growth dissolved into a dusty residue which was collected for analysis. Both SCP-0031 and 002 ceased all detectable activity. 0032 did not resume activity until connected to external power source. 032's runes glowed uniformly gray and did not resume normal activity for 3 hours. 032 no longer appears to be able to maintain containment area at a temperature above 35 degrees Celsius without external power supplied by generators 33 through and that's in Roman numerals. So 3 IIIN through IX. So it's kind of like a biocomputer that releases radiation energy, and it grows. I guess it's like kind of an organic universe a little bit, but it's very faulty because it has to be plugged in to work. Like it'll initially release its radiation spike, which would probably help in a void. But other than that, being reconnected, it probably has to receive inputs back. So that would take, however many billions of years or whatever. I don't know, I'm just theorizing. Addendum 00304. The procedure detailed in Addendum 00303 was repeated, and 031 again entered a growth state. After 10 minutes and 13 seconds, 032 once again produced a sustained radiation spike. 031's growth stopped for 36 seconds, then resumed at its previous pace. So it has like its formulation period as well after a few initial bursts. Well, it calculates in between periods, 36 seconds. On quadrupling its mass, 031 formed a coherent outer shell and body. Wait, are we going backwards? Is 031 002? After appearing to scan its environment and partially converting its environment, 031 then breached containment, entering the observation gallery where 9 members of MO3 Gloria were present. Kind of reminds me of the big Gaia object from the beginning of Golden Sun. Like the Earth God, whatever that is. I can psychically link with people, so... On physical contact with team members, 031 encompassed them in rapidly grown appendages and stopped growth for 15 minutes. 031 then resumed growth and rearranged the component parts of the center of its form to the shape of a 3-meter tall female humanoid, with peripheral tentacles shifting to extrude primarily from 031's newly formed hair and spine. So it kind of copied the DNA after capturing MO3 Gloria members and formed its own human form. 031 then produced rudimentary vocalizations in an apparent initial attempt to communicate with researchers. So is this new appendage an instrument, or its physical representation of a human, or is it just trying to eat? An unknown individual approached the compromised containment area in company of a full squad of agents. The individual claimed to be acting on orders of 05-10 and attempted communication with 031. So 0510 in this circumstance is kind of like a higher authority, I think. Following this incident, Agent Jackson of... data expunged. Following this incident, Agent Jackson of MO3 Gloria successfully restored power to 032 and activated backup generators to return the temperature to 100 degrees Celsius. 031 returned to its normal state in 21 minutes and 7 seconds and was successfully recontained without incident. So it still runs out of power even if it meets its goals. All 9 members of MO3 Gloria affected by 031 were afterwards found to be physically unharmed with no residual effects besides psychological trauma. The converted materials of 003's former containment area did not dissolve and are now under analysis. Addendum 0305. In light of the previous incident, 05-10 was removed from the 05 Council by joint decision of 05 blank, 05 blank, and 05 blank. So 3 05 Council members voted out 05-10 over their actions. MO3 Gloria procedures have been indefinitely suspended. So this was just kind of like a rudimentary entry into the series, kind of like a harmless but also harmful, as the tags say, biocomputer. Interesting. I guess they're able to recontain it, and it's one of those universe machines that wants to eat everything and get to know everything too, I guess. Okay. Just gonna take a drink really quick. Special access program MO3 Gloria required. Okay, so we are MO3 Gloria clearance, I guess. Transcript of Incident Report 821B Cycle 8. For dissemination to O5 Command and staff, interviewers blank, blank, and blank, present 052, 055, 057, 0510, and staff. Interviewed Dr. Tilda David Moose, MO3 Gloria lead. Excerpt 35A. She tried to talk to us. We all heard her voice in our heads, in a sort of half language we couldn't fully understand. Some of the others passed out immediately. I lasted a little longer, but it wasn't because of mental fortitude. It's just that she was trying to tell us different things. She showed Jones a replay of all the memories of everything Jones ever felt anything about. All over the course of a few minutes, she ripped 3 of the researchers apart and put them back together unharmed. She doesn't understand human emotion or pain, or very much about how we experience the world. Yes, I would say the containment procedures are necessary. Listen, she wants to remake the world into a paradise. Paradise filtered through her own alien understanding of paradise, but still a paradise designed for us, for humanity. She would be happy to make a paradise for any sufficiently complex organism she comes across first. Anything with a complex enough mind to accept her, say a dog or a housefly. If she breaches again, we have to be there first. What would it be like? I don't know. She showed us images. Not quite images. I can see them in my head, but they're not pictures. The closest thing I can think of is what you see when you close your eyes suddenly and tightly, but brighter and more complex. The images had metallic sounds associated with them, and sensory details that we don't have the words or concepts to describe. The whole effect felt like words of some kind. I believe she wanted to see what we could understand, so she could understand us. She didn't have time to finish analyzing us. I don't know what would have happened if she had. That makes a lot of sense. So it's a god machine computer, also like a young goddess, and I guess she started from like an aggregate biological form and obtained sentience very, very quickly. And now the Foundation fears that if she is met with any more sentience, she will rapidly grow and convert the universe. So the members fear that it is an object of paradise and also maybe something that's just trickery. Maybe it's just an organism that wants to devour the universe. I mean, speaking from Doctor Who lore logic, it does sound a lot like a chronivore. Except without chronivore mechanics. You know, it utilizes time to plan and action. So I guess it could be a chronivore. But yes, it's very interested in learning, and it'll do whatever it can to meet the highest priority in the minds of those that it finds to be closest to obtaining its true will. So definitely dangerous, but could be true, could be just a freak in the machine. Alright, let's move on to 004. There's the tags, if you wanted to see them. Should really be showing that off. Alright, here's the full page if you want to see it. I think I'll try and go to like 0010 before we end it off tonight. SCP-004 Item. SCP-004 Object Class Euclid. Special containment procedures when handling items 042 through 0413. A proper procedure is vital. Is this a Doctor Who reference? The items are not permitted to be moved off-site unless accompanied by 2 Level 4 security personnel. Under no circumstances should any other component of 004 be taken through 0041. The effects of doing so are as yet unknown, and the current cost of experimentation makes further research impractical. Yeah, it's a cabinet. It's a cabinet that travels through space and time and has infinite coordinates inside. Should any of the objects contained within 0041 breach containment, or the facility be breached, the keys must be brought inside and the door closed prior to activation of Site 62's on-site warhead. Unauthorized removal of keys from the testing area is grounds for immediate termination. So we got like a sick car out here that does like wacky space-time stuff. Here's the image. This is SCP-0... Accidentally opened it in a brand new, or not brand new tab. This is SCP-004-1, which appears to be a, I guess like ornate old wooden farmhouse gate, or I guess like a small early 1900s Ford gate, maybe. Like this is perhaps a garage door. It looks like potentially old London style. I'm not even trying to be preferential towards Doctor Who lore. Just there's some very spade-like appendages to the door hinges. The metal is extruded out and it creates a very long spade across the door. Pointed spade with like the neck of the spade being the longest part. It's sort of wider towards the brace for holding onto the door. And it stretches across 3.5 of the door's wooden planks for each door. It's 2 doors. There is a simple ornate lock made out of presumably metal. It's black with a little rust around one of the screws for the handle. It appears to be locked, but I think the door is open, so I believe I'm just having like some weird perception error there. But yes, there are 4 of the sort of placards attached to the braces on the doors. And the 4 coordinates of the doors, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. The door is slightly ajar, but not enough to see anything inside. It's just darkness in there. Outside of the door is just some like gravel or concrete. There's like a stain or something and some, I don't know, paint or old gum on the floor. There's a white wall attached to the door, and then attached to the door frame itself is red wood, it appears to be. A very old, like red or purple or pinkish wood that has some frays and scratches into it. The paint gets a little darker towards the bottom. Left-hand side, definitely a little scuffed up. But yes, there's a couple of imperfections in the wood. It just looks like a typical door in like England or something. So 041 is the door itself. And I'm assuming 42 to 13 are other interactions with it or something. Description: 004 consists of an old wooden barn door, 041, and a set of 12 rusted steel keys, 042 through 0413. The door itself is the entrance to an abandoned factory and data expunged. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. I know what you're talking about. 76 Totter's Yard? Could be chronological history. 07/02/1949. A group of 3 juveniles trespassing on federal property near blank find the door. According to their testimony, they have found a set of rusted keys in an iron lockbox and determine what door the keys unlock. The juveniles are taken into custody after they contact Sheriff Blank when one of their friends, 004 CAS 01, goes missing. 07/03/1949. Local authorities find the severed right hand of 004 CAS 01, 8 kilometers from 041. Other parts of 004 CAS 01's body are found scattered as far as 32 kilometers from the factory. So going off of TARDIS logic, this is someone stepping into the time vortex and just getting torn up and tossed around. I don't know, this could be a murder or something? Under interrogation, the apprehended juveniles tell authorities that upon opening the door with one of the keys, 004 CAS 01 was torn into several pieces, each of which disappeared. So this could be like the neutral key, 02 or something. If it applies to Time Lord logic, maybe they use the key on the door, and they use the initial key, which takes them into their current timeline or something, which just caused the singularity, like a time paradox to them or something. At this point, the SCP Foundation takes over the investigation. So either the pieces of the body disappeared due to just simply disappearing, or interlopers obtained them. And if this is like temporal mechanics, then these could be all temporal items that, I don't know, give some effect to whoever steals them. 0704-1949, SCP Agent Blank obtains the keys from the local authorities to begin testing. Test shows that 0042 through 0013 all fit into a single lock on a large barred door. 12 Class D personnel are assigned to test the effects of the door. Of the 12 test subjects, each trying a different key to enter the room, only 2 survive. By the way, Class D is basically like the lowest clearance you can get aside from being like outside of the Foundation, I guess. They're basically like a lab rat or a test subject. Opening the door with any key except 0047 or 0012 caused the test subjects to be torn apart in multiple directions. However, no dismembered parts were found until later. At the time of writing, only 2 parts of each subject have been recovered, with the exception of the subject using SCP-004- single number blank or single alpha blank, whose pieces were scattered in close proximity. The others have, for all intents and purposes, vanished from existence. So if we were going off of Time Lord mechanics, this could be someone accessing their own timeline, basically. All of the Class D personnel are just, like, unrelated, potentially? Or maybe, incarnations of the Time Lord? I don't know, I just love Doctor Who and applying its logic to the wiki. Of the 2 surviving subjects, only one, having used 0047, returned unharmed. So 0013 would be like a Time Lord's final incarnation, I guess. The other came back in a near catatonic state, able only to remove himself from the room and then collapse on the floor, and had to be restrained to prevent him from gouging out his eyes. See Appendix A, Mental Health Effects of 004. The subject using 0047 said that he entered a large room, impossibly big for the size of the attached building. So we have some like spatio-temporal mechanics, or maybe just spatial mechanics. After his exit, 041 was propped open and an armed squad of level 3 personnel entered. The size of the room is impossible to measure, and the door frame and the individuals in the room are the only part of the room that can be felt or illuminated. So it's like a room of darkness in 041, which is the key that 0047 was able to use, I guess. 07-16-1949. So yeah, it could be a TARDIS. The juvenile suspects and Sheriff Blank are terminated. That could either mean killed or just fired from their jobs, but juvenile suspects makes me think that they were killed. 0802-1949, Blank is declared a hazardous area due to unexploded ordnance, and fences erected in order to prevent civilian ingress. Tests to determine safety of exposure to environment behind SCP-041 begin. 1201-1950, space-time anomalies resulting from exposure to 004 are confirmed. Testing is suspended until further notice. So it's kind of a barn door into, I don't know, it could just be a barn door. Maybe it's a garage, wink wink. Maybe it's just like a barn. 0702-19 blank blank. The unaccounted for remains of 004 CAS-01 appear unexpectedly outside of 041. Despite being killed decades before, the remains of 004 CAS-01 are not decomposed in any manner and are still warm to the touch. Blood remains uncoagulated. The remains are remanded for testing. This is a duplicate of CAS-01. 0704-19 blank blank. The unaccounted for remains of one of the 12 original test subjects appear in similar manner to those of 004 CAS-01. So CAS-01 applies to all of the test subjects. The remains have been designated 004 CASO2. Records suggest that both 004 CASO1 and CASO2 used 004 double blank. Yeah, so maybe all of these test subjects happen to be the same person somehow. 03/21/1999. With a massive proliferation of nuclear weapons and World War III only double blank years away, construction has begun on a site inside 041. So they're using the TARDIS, basically, to build shit, like their own TARDIS. The site is to stock supplies for blank person days. Very large blank. 04/21/1999. Blank has ordered the site inside 041 to be expanded to include emergency storage for all mobile SCP triple blank specimens and a double blank petabyte database for the storage of all SCP data. The facility is now referred to as Site 62. So they converted whatever this anomaly is into a site. 09/25/2000. Site 62 is operational. Labs and containment units are complete and can contain the most dangerous specimens. Wow, okay. Backup of the SCP database has begun. 01/25/2001. Due to time anomalies, see space-time anomalies below. All personnel working at Site 62 are now required to reside on site permanently. So it's basically like mandated into being Time Lords. Families of personnel are to be informed that loved one perished in an industrial accident. I guess that's just in case they saw the area that they approached. So, hey, it could be a factory. Clone bodies have been prepared for funeral. 08/14/2003. 08/14/2003. Massive power outage across northeast United States and through Canada. Due to the initial failure of multiple SCP generators, Site 62 was without power for 53 minutes. During those 53 minutes, those on site were completely without any source of light. They reported sensing creatures and people, although no abnormal entities could be seen or felt. Selected facility personnel were allowed to read blank, Appendix A, and said the creatures sensed were of humanoid size but otherwise similar to the massive green creature described. The green giant showed up. Space-time anomalies. 004 seems to propagate spatio-temporal anomalies. Personnel leaving the facility report losing time. Those who have been in the site for weeks insist that they had only been in the facility for several days, and records of work completed and supplies consumed support their claims. Other temporal anomalies involve 042 through 13, especially the reappearance of 004 CASO1 and 004 CASO2, exactly double blank years after using the 04-double blank. Blank has been assigned to investigate all aspects of these time anomalies. Spatial anomalies include the impossibly large dimensions of the area opened by 047. Similarly, the 2003 blackout incident suggests that there exists an alternate plane of existence within the same space that Site 62 occupies. Yes, okay. So yeah, it's differential depending on power. It could be, like I said, it could be a TARDIS, and that very much applies to TARDIS architecture. If the TARDIS is off, you lose a lot of rooms. Additional notes. Testing on 004 reveals that 10 of the keys open to 041 on a dimension where the laws of physics and topology are significantly different than those of our home dimension. 10 of the keys. So really, they're all usable, but many of the people that went in died or disappeared. Test subjects meeting these hostile conditions are torn apart, their body parts deposited in various locations, only 3 of which have been verified to be on Earth. Makes sense. Material deposited at 2 of these points appears immediately. Material deposited at the 3rd appears exactly double blank years into the future. The other 7 locations are currently unknown. So yeah, step into the time vortex. Current testing focuses on 2 avenues of research. The first is finding ways to survive 004's hostile topologies. The second, data expunge, suggests that 042 through 13 may open doors other than 041. Appendix A, mental health effects of 00412. All Class D personnel using 00412 return in a catatonic state, unable to speak. Some may have enough energy left to try to claw out their eyes. Of the 16 subjects, only 4 have survived. Only 1 has regained speech following long-term psychotherapy. He was able to tell the psychiatrist that he saw a massive green creature, so large that much of its body extended beyond his field of view. He reported innate fear and sudden recognition, as if it were something buried deep in his, in brackets, primal fears, and forced implantation of incomprehensible memories. Subject displays acute anterograde and retrograde amnesia. So they went to a godhead or something. Appendix B, additional information, item 00414, date of discovery 9/02/1950. Origin of object. Object was discovered elsewhere in factory area in the previously undiscovered manager's office. So it is kind of like a factory, like a car garage junkyard depot, huh? 76 Daughters Lane, anyone? Description, object appears as a large unvarnished wooden box. The box may be unlocked by the safe key 047 as well as 5 of the unsafe keys. See document 0041. Upon unlocking 0414 with 047, the box opens automatically on hinges. The volume of the space inside is precisely 5 times greater than the outer dimensions imply. Items placed within while the lid remains open do not affect the weight or any other properties of the box. While the lid is closed and locked, however, all items inside vanish irretrievably. Personnel locked inside the box are also irretrievable, although losing personnel in this fashion appears to affect significantly the dreams experienced by data expunged. It's very weird, champ, but interesting. So the second anomaly, spatial anomaly here, 14, is basically the monk's TARDIS. Because the doctor stole something from him. Not the chameleon circuit, but something that controls the dimensions inside the TARDIS. So that, when he tries to reach in it, it's so much smaller. So maybe this could be the monk's TARDIS years later, after he fixed it a bit or something. I don't know, we got some weird spatial mechanics, and definitely time travel going on too. Space-time indeed. Alright, let's go on to 005. Here's the whole page if you want to see it real quick. And let's zoom in. SCP-005. Item SCP-005. Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. 005 poses no immediate risk in any direct sense. Even so, its unique functions require special measures to be taken to restrict access and manipulation of the object. Approval of at least one approval of at least one level 4 personnel is required for the removal of the object from its containment area. So it looks like it appears to just be a key on a surface of quartz or granite or something. It's a very ancient looking key, I'd say. Not ancient, but old. It's in good condition, maybe made out of gold or brass. The main flute of the key, or the neck, has 2 parts. It's quite long. I'd say it's standard key size, but it bows out into a circular cone, I guess you could say, and then at the end of the cone is a smaller cylinder, which has the tooth, or the key. The tooth of the key. The tooth of the key looks kind of like a puzzle piece a little bit, or like an H. The grip of the key is like an infinity symbol or an 8 punched out. There seems to be like a marking on the key. And yeah, it's just a simple ornate key. Let's see. Description and appearance: 005 resembles an ornate key displaying the characteristics of a typical mass-produced key used in the 1920s. The key was discovered when a civilian used it to infiltrate a high-security facility. The picture says a close-up of SCP-005, by the way. 005 seems to have the unique ability to open any and all forms of lock. Master key. See Appendix A, be they mechanical or digital, with relative ease. The origin of this ability has yet to be determined. Additional nodes: 005 may be used as a replacement for lost security passes, but only under the supervision of at least one level 4 personnel. 005 may not be used for vending machine repairs, opening lockers, or for any personnel's spare home key. This is like a new hire manual. Removal of the object from the compound result in immediate termination. Alright, yeah, it's just a free master key. Appendix A, while 005 has been shown to be effective in removing any form of locking device, further experiments have shown that efforts to disguise the purpose or identity of a lock have proven at least somewhat successful in defeating 005's ability. In approximately 50% of cases where a volunteer was not able to identify a locking device as such, 005 was not successful in deactivating the device. So it makes like a connection with the user, and if the user perceives the lock to be a lock, then it's a lock, otherwise it's not. Due to these results, 005 has been tentatively classified as sentient, and further tests are being run to determine its cognitive abilities. However, there are no results that show any traits that prevent it from being used to identify any particular locking device, only that the aforementioned device has been heavily concealed and disguised. Very interesting. Okay, yeah, it's a master key that goes off of what the user thinks is happening. I guess that's useful, but it can be negated so easily. Okay, SCP-006. There's the page. Looks to be like a river or something. Let's check out the picture really quick. It says just SCP-006. Looks like just a typical small pond. Maybe not a pond, like a very small river in a typical forest, or maybe even in someone's backyard. Very bright green grass, a little bit of a babbling brook, if you will. There's a tuft of grass and dirt, rocks in the middle of it, and off to the left-hand side, a decent chunk is taken up by just dirty, rocky shore. It looks just kind of like a little muddy puddle with a small river going through it. Some chunked up dirt near the shore. We got a small tree, some bushes, some flowers, it appears. The river's a little sunken, so if someone were to walk towards the edge of these grass and rocks on maybe, I guess, the right-hand side here, they could slip and fall in, but it doesn't look that deep. Maybe a foot deep, maximum. The shore is very shallow. There's just some random grass and, I guess, weeds or plants, and a large field of yellow something in the background, maybe wheat. It does look like that maybe there's a house in the distance, but it's not easy to make out. It's very small that far away. Yes, an object that could be a house or maybe just tree line. There is a significant tree line as well, and just bushes and brush blocking out the distance. It's a typical babbling brook. Under direct orders of the founder, access is limited to those with Overseer clearance. Overseer clearance granted. Item number SCP-006. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. Whereas the nature of 006 does not warrant any extensive containment, a certain level of secrecy is necessary regarding the object's existence and properties for obvious reasons. Following procedures are required not for personnel safety but to deny or hide knowledge. of O06's effects from the personnel who interact with it. Number 1. All personnel interacting with 006 in any physical way are required to wear modified Class 6 BNC suits. 4 personnel are allowed to perform procedures. They must be briefed with material SCP-0068 or SCP-006-C. 006-A briefing is the correct one. It is restricted to only those with O5 clearance. Oh, it's... okay. Let me read that again. Before personnel are allowed to perform procedures, they must be briefed with material SCP-006-B or SCP-006-C. O6A briefing is the correct one and is restricted to only those with O5 clearance. So, canonically, we are now an overseer. We are part of O5 Council. In lore. To ensure personnel are wearing suits properly, they are to be submerged into a pool of water. Any air bubbles spotted signify a leak in the suit. Number 2. Procedures with 006 are to be carried out under extreme surveillance. In case of contact with 006, the commander in charge will announce 006 Xi, X, capital X, lowercase I, 12, which the personnel have been briefed to believe mean a high toxicity. Okay, let me try that again. In case of contact with 006, the commander in charge will announce procedure 006 Xi, capital X, lowercase I, 12, which the personnel have been briefed to believe to mean high toxicity is present and they must evacuate. So it's the vat of acid episode from Rick and Morty. Any procedure, number 3, any procedure in which liquid is acquired from 006 must be approved by 3 O5 level personnel. So O5 council members have to approve this if liquid is taken. The liquid is to be transferred in a quad sealant container under armed guard. 4. If at any time personnel come into contact with 006 or liquid from 006, they are to be confined and terminated after sufficient studies are done. So probably terminated as in killed. Who knows, maybe they'll let me go home. Due to the nature of 006, the most effective termination method is incineration. Yeah, so they're gonna burn me alive. For full report, see 006 TER05. It's capital T, lowercase ER, letter O, capital 5. Description: 006 is a very small spring located 60 kilometers west of Astrakhan. Foundation Command was aware of its existence since the 19th century, but were unable to secure it until 1991 due to political reasons. On the spot of the spring, a chemical factory has been constructed as a disguise, with a majority of laborers under Foundation and/or Russian control. The liquid emitted from the spring has been chemically identified as simple mineral water in 1902, but has the unusual property of health. Ingesting the liquid produces the following properties in human beings: the ability to regenerate DNA damaged by sufficient duplication, heightened excitement of cellular duplication, vastly improved abilities in the repair of damaged tissue, and a frightening increase in the effectiveness of the human immune system. Upon testing the liquid on animal subjects, hostile bacteria and viral agents were destroyed immediately. Many reptiles and birds were unaffected, while higher primates experienced the same benefits as humans. So it's kind of a beneficial alkahest chemical. It is a medical mana oasis. Very cool. Maybe I'll go there one of these days. I'll grab some of it. Alright, it's SCP-007-007. There's the page. There appears to be no image. Let me just refresh really quick. Is there no image for this page? For this entry? Guess not. Okay. Item number SCP-007, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures 007 is to be contained in a sealed room measuring 10 meters on each side. Room is to be furnished comfortably as a living area, along with whatever items are requested by blank, hereafter referred to as subject. Given that providing subject with requested items would not compromise security, subject is not allowed to leave the room and is to be detained with force if necessary. Description: 007 is located within a cavity of the abdomen of subject. Subject is a Caucasian male, approximately 25 years of age. Subject claims to be 28 and 176 centimeters in height. Most of subject's abdomen, muscles, skin, and organs is absent, though subject does not appear to suffer because of this. Muscles, skin, and organs. So he's like a skeleton? Weird. Instead of normal flesh, a sphere composed of oil and water is present, though it does not actually come in contact with subject's body at any point. So it's like a liquid Gaia skeleton. The sphere appears to be, in most respects, a miniature near duplicate of the Earth, approximately 60 centimeters in diameter, although continental alignment is not consistent with that of any alignment known in Earth's history. Okay, it's like a geosphere around this person's body. The sphere has its own weather patterns and negligible gravitational pull, in addition to microscopic organisms somewhat resembling those of modern-day Earth inhabiting it. Two intelligent species have been observed, though contact and communication with either has yet to be made. Technology levels of observed species must be checked at least once a week, and as of double blank quadruple blank, are approximately equal to that of 15th century Earth. Interesting. Subject claims to be named blank, but no records of such a person can be found. Subject does not require food or water, and while he has been observed consuming both, what happens to such substances after being swallowed is unknown. Okay, so his skin, muscle, and basically stomach are like temporarily dislocated or something. Subject is intelligent, IQ has been measured at 128, and amiable, and regards the planet in his abdomen as a minor curiosity about his body. Okay, he's like Gaia person, huh? Subject seems to experience no stress about his unusual condition. When questioned about the planet's origins, subject replied, "I just woke up one day and there it was. I don't have any idea how it got there." So maybe the planet, with its gravity, absorbed his, everything except his skeletal system? Subject has provided a social security number and driver's license number and requested that they be checked against known records. When checked, it was discovered that neither had yet been allocated. So he has future social security number and driver's license numbers. Dr. Blank has a weekly chess game with the subject. Watch, it's Dr. Bright. During which subject's mental health is evaluated. Dr. Blank reports that subject does not seem to mind the restricted living environment and has yet to attempt to escape or shows signs of violence or mental illness, though he has repeatedly requested a computer with an internet connection. It is recommended that this not be provided as it may be used to compromise security. Fair enough. In Foundation terms, that makes a lot of sense. Alright, that was 007. Alright. Here's 008. By order of the Overseer Council, this file is subject to Level 4 classification. Level 4 clearance is required. Please input security credentials. Okay. Item number 008. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. By the way, security clearance adequate accessing file. So we have 05 Overseer clearance and also Level 4 clearance at this point. Special containment procedures. 008 samples have been deemed Class 5 extreme biological hazards, and all related protocols apply. Incineration and irradiation measures will be deployed in the event of political or military action, which may result in the facility being dismantled, a power failure, or zero communications from operatives or outside channels during any given 8-hour period. Class 5 extreme biological hazards. Quarantine period for operatives leaving the facility is 4 months. If a breach has occurred, incineration and irradiation measures shall be deployed. It should be the policy of all G2 sites to not prepare an evacuation procedure. Okay. Interesting. Description. 008 is a complex prion or prion, samples of which are stored in each of the known G2 sites. Research into 008 is highly classified and primarily aimed at preventing research which may lead to the synthesis of 008 in the distant future. Traits of the 008 prion include 100% infectiousness, and 100% infectiousness, 100% lethality, transmission through exposed mucous membranes in all bodily fluids, not airborne or waterborne. Symptoms of infection of 008 manifest no more than 3 hours after exposure and include flu-like symptoms with high fever plus severe dementia in later stages. Coma onset approximately 20 hours after first symptoms appear and 12 hours after noticeable dementia. Coma onset will be considered onset of death. A period of sporadic cellular necrosis which occurs. A period of sporadic cellular necrosis. Bro, I need water. Can't read. A period of sporadic cellular necrosis occurs, which comes to resemble gangrene. Surviving tissue assumes its original function and is highly resilient. Red blood cells greatly increase oxygen storage capacity, resulting in slower blood flow and increased muscle endurance and strength. Nervous and muscular systems are unaffected by total organ failure for several hours. So it's like a super steroid? Metabolism may decrease to extremely low levels, allowing subject to survive for over 10 years without nutrition. High blood viscosity results in negligible blood flow from gunshot, puncture, and slashing injuries. So, gunshots on these test subjects don't work. Same with punctures and slashes. Conditioned behavior, motor controls, and instinctive behavioral mechanisms are damaged, and cognitive abilities are severely retarded and erratic. Animals experience excessive brain necrosis and are inactive. So it's flocka? Subject can adapt to its damaged nervous systems, but is limited to basic physical activities, including standing up, balancing on 2 legs, walking, biting, grabbing, and crawling. Subject will energetically move towards sights, sounds, and smells it associates with living humans. Subject will attempt to ingest living humans if physical contact is made. Neutralizing fully infected subjects requires significant cranial trauma, so it even buffers the brain a little bit. Strong evidence to suggest that 008 itself did not form naturally on Earth, since variants of similar complexity would have displaced much of the ecosystem. In 1959, a short collaborative effort with the USSR to locate G2 sites and eliminate 008 was negotiated following their discovery. Status of 008 in Russian custody had since collaboration ended is unknown. Addendum 008-1 SCP-500 is found to be able to completely cure 008 even in the advanced stages of the disease. So this is basically, yeah, reanimation. This is kind of like a zombie virus almost, but it makes them into 28 days later style. They are very fast, they are basically eternal as long as they eat. They retain some semblance of intelligence and like faculties. Very weird, very scary, and also like a dank eye zombie reference there. We can cure it now, we can make them come back. Okay, 009. This looks really cool. Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. Object is to be contained within a steel storage tank of heat-resistant alloy with dimensions not less than 2 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters. Under no circumstances should 009 be exposed to temperatures in excess of 0 degrees Celsius when not undergoing testing. And no water-based solution shall be allowed within 30 meters of the object's containment area. Object's chamber is to be fitted with temperature sensors which must be monitored at all times. It is to be kept refrigerated by no fewer than 3 redundant cooling units. Any malfunction of sensors or of coolant systems is to be reported and repaired immediately. If at any time the temperature in the containment area climbs above -5 degrees Celsius, the chamber is to be locked down and flooded with coolant until temperatures return to safe levels, -30 Celsius to -25 Celsius. So the caption of the image says SCP-009 prior to recovery. Here it is. It looks kind of like a very red, pinkish tree, but it's also, structurally, it almost looks a bit like coral as well. Talking about zombies. Coral! Coral! In the background are ice structures, so this could be like some form of sentient ice, or God forbid like a fucking Ice 9 creature. No thank you. There's a lot of snow in the background, or presumably more ice. It looks like this is just the interior of part of the facility where it's kept, and maybe this was just the best spot that could stick it just like in the back in a very deeply cooled area in the facility. But yeah, it's a very pinkish to a deep light red crystalline structure that looks very similar to, I guess, candy ice a little bit, or maybe just a real ice structure, and it also looks a bit like a tree. But I'm going to take a guess. This is somewhere in the facility. It is very cold. Okay. Let's see. Containment area is to be kept in total vacuum during testing, and personnel interacting with 009 must wear full environmental protection gear. Following testing, all equipment, personnel, and other materials must undergo dehydration procedures and be quarantined for no less than 12 hours. Any moisture found displaying properties of 009 is to be quarantined and added to the containment area as soon as possible. So yeah, it's like a living substance that whenever it gets warm, it becomes active or something. Living organisms found to be contaminated by 009 are to be terminated by chemical desiccation and extracted molecules of 009 added to containment. So basically, kill it with fire. I don't know what desiccation means quite exactly, I guess dry it out. Description: 009 is approximately liters of a substance which superficially resembles distilled water, H2O, except with a distinct bright red hue. This red hue is discernible in all phases and serves as the most expedient method of identifying contaminated matter before its anomalous properties manifest. In contrast to mundane water, 009 assumes a liquid phase at temperatures between -100 degrees Celsius and 0 degrees Celsius, and a solid state above those temperatures. At temperatures below -100 degrees Celsius, 009 vaporizes into a gaseous phase similar to steam. It's kind of backwards. Examinations of the atomic structure of 009 have proved inconclusive. The substance appears to be identical to normal water molecules, with the exception of redacted in contrast to standard laws of enthalpy. Dr. Blank, cite Double Blank's resident expert on xenospatial physics, suggests that O9 may originate in a universe with alternate physical laws. The most hazardous property of O9, however, is its ability to contaminate normal H2O. This is so totally Ice 9. When in contact with any aqueous solution, O9 will, through unknown mechanisms, transfer its anomalous properties to other objects and creatures. Testing has shown it capable of assimilating ice, steam, tea, fruit juice, seawater, blood, and blank. The time it takes for this process to occur varies depending on temperature and the exact chemical composition of affected matter, and had been observed as taking between 3 minutes and double blank hours. Experiments on D-class personnel illustrated the process of conversion by the substance, which has been found to follow a consistent pattern. Number 1, initial exposure. Subject is exposed to O09, and it begins assimilating any moisture present on the exposed surface. Creatures in this stage do not commonly notice any unusual symptoms except for a slight warming sensation. Number 2, surface conversion. Frost begins to form on the exposed area as the heat produced by the subject and O09 itself raises its temperature above 0 degrees Celsius. The stage can take anywhere from 1 minute to single blank hours, during which time subjects begin to feel redacted crystals from the epidermis. So it actually solidifies at higher temperatures. Or maybe it does something to human blood, who knows. Number 3, deep tissue conversion. Exponential increase in temperature of O09 causes runaway reaction throughout subject's body, resulting in redacted. Actual blood loss is minimal due to ice crystals redacted, allowing subjects to remain alive and conscious for up to double blank hours. So it's basically a crystalline parasite that causes damage, but it's just alternate universe water. Forward data expunged. Testing on D-class personnel was discontinued as of 4/23/20 double blank. Kinda recently. Or maybe in the future. Addendum, circumstances of retrieval. Subject was found in Blank, Alaska on 11/05/19 double blank. The Foundation became involved after reports were obtained from the native Blank tribe, who came across the mangled bodies of a team of seal hunters, which had apparently been shipwrecked double blank kilometers from the village. All victims were found encased in red ice. Bro, get the blue flame, get the red flame, whatever it is. Ocarina of Time. Cause of death recorded as internal bleeding, though closer examination found redacted. It's surmised that the low ambient temperatures in the area retarded the freezing process. This prolonged the time to total conversion by double blank hours and allowed the victims to remain conscious until data expunged. Origin of O09 is currently unknown. Investigation into similar events or materials in the area is ongoing. Evidence at the scene suggests redacted, possibly involving SCP triple blank. See Exploration Log A0091 for details. Okay. This is an offshoot of 009. Whoops. So here's the whole page. Tag says supplement. Exploration Log A0091. Exploration Log 110519 double blank. Situational Report. Mobile Task Force Beta 7, the Has Matters, was deployed to the recovery site to catalog and safely retrieve samples of O09 to transport to site double blank. Agent Blank Bryce, MTF B7, made a visual inspection of the area and noted three bodies, all male between the ages of double blank and 40 years. Dr. Blank, also on site, surmised from the relative position of subjects that Mr. Blank, age 32, hereafter referred to as Subject 0, was the origin point of Redacted. Subsequent subjects are presumed to have been exposed to 009 while attempting to help Subject 0 back to the wreckage of the boat. During standard perimeter sweep, Agent Blank Hughes located what appears to be humanoid tracks leading northeast. After brief deliberation, a three-man team consisting of Agents Hughes, Whitmore, and Cassidy was dispatched to investigate potential security breach. Begin log 6:42:43 EST. Agent Hughes, we found something. Control, it's a cave. The tracks lead inside. Control, copy. Hughes, what do you see? Hughes, looks like a crack in the ice. It's maybe a meter tall? The opening's not very wide. Agent Whitmore, Captain, we got a body. Unidentified shuffling noises are heard. Control, we didn't copy. Hughes, repeat. Hughes, there's a subject here, Control. Frozen in the skip, male, about 15. Looks like he was trying to crawl away from something. There's a spear gun here, also frozen. It's been fired. Control, any signs of trauma? There was a pause. Agent Cassidy, without touching him, I can't be sure, but it looks like he was stabbed by something. See how he's gripping his chest here? Right where this spike is growing out. He might have been attacked. Hughes, did you hear her, Control? Control, affirmative. Tag the coordinates for recovery and proceed into the cave. Whitmore, we using live fire, Captain? Hughes, there might be hostiles, so yes, but keep them in single shot mode. Don't want the guns getting too hot. Cassidy, good call. Don't want to end up like this guy. Whitmore, unintelligible, that's for sure. Agents ready their weapons and proceed. Approximately 2 minutes pass. Whitmore, unintelligible. Control, please repeat, Hughes, we didn't copy. Hughes, there's a chamber in here, Control, I'd say 5 or 6 meters in diameter. It's filled with red ice. In the middle, there's a pool. It looks about 3 meters wide, depth unknown. Cassidy, the fuck hap? Screams are heard, gunfire. Control, Hughes, come in. Are there hostiles? There's a brief pause. Hughes, fucking hell, negative. Control, just... Jesus, a fucking polar bear, it's dead. There's dozens of bodies here, not human. See a few seals, a snow fox, and what the hell? Whitmore, what the fuck is that? Cassidy, no, oh god. Control, Hughes, do you copy? Hughes, Cassidy found a spider, a giant spider. There's a pause during which shuffling and breathing are heard. Control, is it alive? What do you mean by giant? Hughes, I mean fucking huge, Control. At least a meter leg span. It's frozen. Wait, no, shit. I don't see anything inside it. It almost looks like it's made of this stuff. Cassidy, unintelligible. Not possible. We're nowhere close to Germany. Whitmore, what? What about Germany? Cassidy, Captain. I'm pretty sure that's 3023. Control, repeat, Captain? Hughes, Cassidy said the spider is SCP-3023 Control. There's a pause. Control, that's not possible, Hughes. Why would she think that? Cassidy, voice elevated. I'm sure, Control, I've worked with 3023. It's an instance made of Skip 9. Skip 9. Whitmore, wait, what's 3023? Control, that is classified. Agent Cassidy, you are to speak no more of this. If the specimen is destroyed, there is no reason to worry about it. Please continue your search. Cassidy, mumbling, but how the fuck did it get here? Hughes, we copy, Control. Cassidy, sweep the perimeter, see if there's any side tunnels. Cassidy, but... Hughes, blank, that's an order. Cassidy, unintelligible. Hughes, blank, check out those corpses, see if there's any humans. Whitmore, on it. Control, Agent Hughes, how deep is the pool you mentioned? Hughes, can't see the bottom. God, I'm having SCP-354 flashbacks. This is not cool. Control, focus, Captain. Is there anything nearby you can use to measure the depth? Hughes, pauses. Well, the spider has a spear sticking out of it. Control, can you safely retrieve it? Hughes, the suit should protect me, right? Control, all the same. Try not to touch the affected material. Hughes, alright, I've got it. Should work. Looks about 1.5 meters long. 1.5 meters long. Control, copy that, Hughes. Proceed with caution. There's a pause. Hughes, well, it's definitely more than a meter deep. I could go further, but I'd have to get my hand closer to that stuff. Suit or no suit, I'd prefer not to do that. Control, affirmative, Captain. We'll dispatch some D-Class with gear to test that out. Continue your search. Hughes, copy that. Well, I guess I'm... Cassidy, voice distant. Captain! Hughes, stand by. Control. What is it, Cassidy? Cassidy, voice distant. I think you're going to want to see this, sir. I think I know where the spider came from. Hughes, Control, I'm going deeper in the cave. Control, affirmative, proceed. Approximately 1 minute of boots crunching on ice and packed snow. Hughes, oh, that's not good. Control, what do you see, Captain? Hughes, an aperture, about 1 meter in diameter. It's covered in the stuff. Cassidy, 10 seconds of silence. Hughes, blank, report. Control, do you have a visual of Agent Cassidy? Hughes, no. Shit, she must have gone inside. Control, please remain calm. Describe this aperture. Hughes, it just looks like a tunnel, but there's no ice past the mouth, red or otherwise. I can make out a dim light coming from somewhere inside. It might be Cassidy's torch. Control, is there anything else unusual? Hughes, Cassidy. Control, Captain Hughes, please respond. Is there anything else unusual about the tunnel? Hughes, yeah, it's wet. The walls are... and the floor. There's a puddle about 1 meter down. Shit, the puddle is red. A few minutes of breathing and shuffling noises. Hughes, Control, did you get that? Control, affirmative, stand by. 30 seconds of breathing, followed by approaching footsteps. Whitmore. Yo, what's up? Where's Cassidy? Hughes, she went in there. Whitmore. Yo, Cassidy, holla back, girl. 30 seconds of silence. Hughes, unintelligible. Control, I'm going in there. Control, negative, Hughes. We're rerouting a team of D-Class for recovery. Your orders are to withdraw the rest of your team and await further orders. Hughes, data redacted. Whitmore, whoa, hold up, take it easy. Control, you have your orders, Hughes. I don't think I need to remind you, data expunged. 45 seconds of silence. Hughes, copy, Control, let's go, blank, and log. Alright. That was the exploration log A009-1. Now let's read the addendums for 009. Addendum 09-19 double blank. After initial report and retrieval of specimens, it was confirmed that the arachnid entity found by MTF-B7, see attached file, was indeed a previously unknown sub-instance of SCP-3023. Investigation has revealed the instance originated in Redacted as a result of data expunged. So this link right here is the same as exploration log link. Addendum 1206-19 double blank. After repeated inquiries, it should be noted that the portion of coastline upon which the initial victims were found was barren rock, approximately single blank meters from the seashore. It was sufficiently dry and cold to prevent significant contamination of the surrounding area. Had the site been closer to the water, there is little doubt an extinction level event would have ensued. So it was just very lucky that the area was cold and dry. Consideration of upgrading 009 to Keter class under review. Addendum 1216-20 double blank. Supercooling of 009 for the purposes of experimentation is disallowed until further notice. Personnel are advised that liquid nitrogen is only to be used on the subject in controlled amounts, and only until temperatures have reached acceptable levels. Related note, possible application of 009 in cold fusion research pending evaluation. So yeah, that could be some useful high energy storage, cold fusion or something material. Memo from O5 Command, 10920 double blank. We've decided to keep this thing Euclid for now. We understand the concerns raised, but as long as you keep the power on, and nobody goes near its containment area, there shouldn't be a problem. That's why we're keeping it in sight double blank after all. As for the cold fusion research, we're putting a pin in that for now. Frankly, we don't have it in the budget for another snafu like site double blank. The salvage team still hasn't found Dr. Blank's redacted. So yeah, it is like a Ice 9-like material. The following experiment record was recovered via a chance occurrence of SCP-507 shifting into a universe in which the described test was carried out using a 107. The applicability of the reported findings to our own universe is pending review. Input: 10 milliliters of SCP-009. Result: red snow fell in test area for 27 minutes with moderate intensity. Grass growing in test area began runaway reaction, which ended with entire area being frozen within minutes. Notably, anti-enthalpathic reaction of 09 did not extend past the effective radius of 107, for reasons still under investigation. Non-grass plants in area turned bright red in color, greatly expanded and mutated to display cyan-colored tentacles, similar to those of Drosera capensis. Let's go ahead and look at what that is. Drosera capensis, commonly known as the Cape Sundew, is a small rosette-forming carnivorous species of perennial sundew native to the Cape in South Africa. So yes, it definitely has some Ice 9 properties for sure. Mucilage produced by these tentacles later found to be tiny beads of 009. How the plant is able to survive with 009 integrated into its cell structure is currently under investigation, with preliminary hypothesis being the plant is a reflection of flora from the substance's native universe. So they have like a door to either test universes or like a test environment or just a universe where this might be yielded from. And yeah, they're able to test the Ice 9 quality of it. And it even like has some fauna plant life that utilize it throughout their transformation and evolution. Very interesting. I haven't read Cat's Cradle, but I do want to. Just the concept of Ice 9 freezing everything is fucking scary. Just how rapidly it would freeze fucking everything. Yeah, it's probably like an alternate universe hydrogen or something. Or, you know, water, whatever. Okay, here's SCP-10. Here's the page for you. And let's read it. Item number SCP-010, Object Class Safe. Special Containment Procedures. The objects comprising 010 are to be kept in numbered locked boxes at Site 19. They are not to be worn except by test subjects. 010 are only to be removed from storage for testing. 010 consists of a series of 6 apparently identical cast iron collars with numbered metal tags and 1 remote control. Control is 010-1. The collars are 010-2 through 010-7. Collars contain intricate electronic components and are powered by a small 5mm diameter, 2mm thick, 100-volt batteries. These batteries are rechargeable. The remote is a heavy black box resembling an old-style hand radio transmitter receiver, with a primitive blue/white cathode ray screen and a series of more than 100 unlabeled buttons, as well as a frequency tuner. Through trial and error, the frequencies of all 6 currently found collars have been discovered. A label in Russian is stamped into the metal along with a logo consisting of workers building a pyramid. No official Russian corporation or government agency uses this logo or matches the words stamped into the metal. Placing the collar around the neck of a person and securing it allows one to control their every movement with a remote. It is also capable of producing an adrenal response and activating or deactivating the sympathetic nervous system. It's like a mind remote. The most abnormal feature of the collars is the effect they have on the body morphology. They allow the user of the remote to reconfigure the shape of the victim to an extent that is apparently only limited by the knowledge of the programming language of the remote. So you're telling me we can make like big head mode people wide Kenshi create the characters? We can make short man who's like, his stomach is 50 feet wide and he's like purple blue? Addendum 10-1 History. 10 was discovered in the basement of a lone man in the Midwestern United States after a local disappearance was connected to him. When the police raided the man's house, they found O10 as well as several dead bodies. One of the bodies was identified to be the man. The others were several other missing persons. Cause of death seemed to be mass suicide. However, there were signs of significant struggle first. Addendum 10-2 Disassemble Experiment. Test 1. 10-2 taken apart piecewise, the parts labeled and several photographs taken, then reassembled. Result, after assembly, 10-2 continues to function. Test 2. 10-8 constructed identically to 10-2, but with the closest approximations available to the 10-8 constructed identically to 10-2, but with the closest approximations available to the unreplicable components. Result, 10-8 fails to function. Test 3 unreplicable components from 10-2 placed into proper locations on 10-8. Result, 10-2 ceases functioning with removal of components. 10-8 begins functioning. So we've basically, with technology, replicated this, like create a character, control a sim, bracelet for the neck. Test 4. Components return to 10-2. Replicable components in 10-2 replace randomly with replicas. 10-2 begins functioning with return of components. Changing replicable components for replicas does not significantly reduce functionality. So we have reached the point where we can like fully replicate this basically. Replacement of a damaged transistor decreased time from transition to effect of 10-2 response to commands entered in the remote by 12%. So it's really just like some science-ass shit. Addendum 10-3. SCP-10 has been demonstrated to work more effectively and created unskilled labor than for any other task. The logo is apt. Dr. Blank. Yeah. I guess it's like a slavery machine and it also changes people a bit. This kind of feels like one of those Time Lord pieces of tech that allowed them to make human TARDISes. Very strange, but lethal in its own way, but also safe. So, how long have we been going tonight? We've been going for 2 hours. I was going to check out some more random ones and page ahead to 11, but I think we'll just do 11's beginning. So yeah, that was me reading the SCP Wiki. I hope you enjoyed. Here's a little preview to what we have coming up next. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think I want this to be a regular segment. It's just fun. I think, despite the horrible internet connection I had tonight, it should be a fun series, and YouTube's gonna enjoy it, I think. I hope you enjoyed it on Twitch. So, again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This was a bit of creepy and just fun and funny, and yeah, I had a great time. So before you go, please drop a follow on the Twitch channel. Click the About section, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channels, both the main channel and the VOD backup channel. Follow the Twitter that's linked over in the About section, and go join the Discord, dude. We'd love to have you over there. Anyway, that's going to do it for me tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.